Names again. So nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. I think we've got, if there were a few others that were going to join, but we're just going to be strong in numbers and have a great time.
Awesome. I'm excited anyway. So whenever you're ready, I'm ready to get in it.
Perfect. All right. We want to go ahead and begin.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, aloha mai kako e kakahiaka, everybody. Good morning. Good morning to you all. Thank you again for coming. So we are going to get in it this morning immediately. All right. So get a nice, comfortable space, and we're going to begin by finding our neutral position. Oops, some people is popping in here. Cool. We're gonna get right in here and find what I call neutral. And exactly what is that? Is that we want to also find a balance point, and we want to be able to kind of use this time to also check in with our bodies. So I'm gonna start by bringing your feet as close together as you can. And you're gonna go ahead and just sink your weight into the ground. And if you're wearing shoes, go ahead and take those off. You want to be barefoot for this class, yeah? Go ahead and just bend your knees and sink. And this is just a check-in, and just notice your feet on the ground, and just notice how your weight is distributing on your feet from the toes to the heel. And just sink and notice the base around your feet. Notice the base is narrow. And just notice your hips, your shoulders, your neck, your knees. And now you're gonna shift your weight over to your right foot. Gonna peel up off the left, step out on the left. Now we're gonna open. Now our weight and our base is more evenly distributed and substantial. And now we're gonna start from the bottom up by noticing our feet and firmly planting your feet on the ground. And then notice you're gonna gently push your knees out so that they can line up over your feet. And then working our way up to the thighs, you want to try to soften your quadriceps and relaxing your IT band. Working your way up further to the hips, notice any unconscious tension and go ahead and relax their glutes, relax the hips. And now go ahead and lengthen your spine, your tailbone all the way to the ground. And then you're gonna feel the front part of your abdominals to engage. You're not so much sucking in your belly, but the muscles begin to engage naturally as you lengthen the tailbone. Quiet your chest. Let your shoulders roll back and in line with your hips. And now you're gonna gently go ahead and bring your chin in slightly to lift up the cervical spine from the top of the top crown of your head. And as you continue to sink, just notice and make any micro adjustments now. Notice any really unconscious tension and just notice that and just begin to relax. Continuing to lengthen your tailbone to the ground and relax and lengthen. And breathe. Good. Keep making the small micro adjustments. Until you feel a sense of homeostasis and relax. Just notice the unconscious tension and just relax and keep sinking into the ground. It's not a deep sink, but it's just enough sink to go ahead and relax and open up your muscles and relax the fascia on top of your muscles. All right. And if your eyes are closed or are halfway, just begin to slowly open them up. You're going to interlace all 10 fingers, have your palms facing up. You're going to expand the armpits as you bring your arms up to your chest, palms facing up. And you're going to turn the palms down and press. And as you press down, you're going to sink a little bit more. And then you're going to push up and out, straighten up the knees slightly, and you're going to bend at the elbows, floating the arms down. Good. And inhale. Press down, exhale. Very good. And inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Very good. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Float the arms down. Very good. And just notice now how you feel. Just notice how you feel. And all right, good. So now we're just going to gently twist to one side. Float the arms up. Return center. Press the arms down. You're going to stay in neutral position as you do this. Go ahead and twist. Float the arms up and twist back down to the center. And breathe. Twist. Press, float the arms down. Again, twist. And float the arms down and notice. Just waking up our body. Now let's get some blood flowing. Go ahead and bounce. Ooh. Yep, go ahead and bounce. Get blood flowing. Waking up our bodies. I know here on the West Coast, it's about a little after 9 o'clock. So maybe where you are, it's afternoon. But if this is your first movement of the day, you just want to wake it up and bounce. Let the tailbone continue to hang heavy and long in the back. Good, and you're just gonna shake and exhale, shake the bottom, and come all the way up again and bounce. Breathe. Very good. And shake. Shake the bottom. Ooh, again, come on up and bounce. You might start to feel a little bit warm, which is good. And shake. Shake the bottom. Wake up. Good. Shake out the arms and the legs. All right, now slowly just circle the whole iliac crest of the hips. Feel where you are in your hips. Very good. Another way. Good. Real gentle right now. We'll get deeper as we go. Go ahead and just bend side to side and gently look up. Good. And now we're just gonna bend front and back gently. Very good. Nice. Now let's bring our feet together. Put hands on your knees and track the knees over the feet. And you can go ahead and give your knees a massage. Yeah. If you notice or hear any cracks and pops, that's normal because our body is always shifting, yeah? But what we're doing is we're encouraging the release of synovial fluid in our joints. Good. And bring your feet a little bit closer if you can and go ahead and circle the knees. I'm going to the right. We want synovial fluid to lubricate all through our knees. Good. Good, and back and forth again. Good, and come up. Nice, and just step back out of neutral position and sink. Now we're gonna go ahead and shift our weight. I'm shifting to my left and bring the knee up to the chest and sink. And circle the foot like you're stirring a pot. And other side. Good, and change. Other side. Sink, lift up, and circle. Other side. Good, again, same thing. Shift, keep sinking. Bring the knee up to the chest. The standing leg is slightly bent. Other side. And shift again, final time. It's a balance challenge too. Very good, nice. So I'm gonna step out a little bit more, return to neutral. I'm gonna work our thoracic spine, gonna curl the fingers back, bring the fingers together, thumbs at your side. Open up the chest and the bird chest. And I go to the side and push and open. And press. Really getting in our thoracic. We hold a lot of tension in our thoracic. Yeah. We're sitting at computers where we hold a lot of our worry and tension. We want to open that up. We want to have full access to our body when we move. Good. Oh, that feels great. Very nice. Good. Come back to the center. Neutral position, and we're just going to snake our chest side to side. Just side to side. Very good. Very nice. Stay in neutral and now circle the chest. Slowly, and notice any tension and just relax and breathe so that you can open up your chest. Other side. Very good. Nice. Keep staying in the neutral position. Go ahead and work our shoulders. We're gonna go forward, shoulders up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. Other side. Up, forward, down, and back. Up, forward, down. Now I'm gonna go back and forward. Good. And now you're just gonna go one at a time, going forward. Right, and reverse. Good, very nice. And now you're gonna circle, both arms going back. Good, and really pay attention to your shoulders as you're bringing your arms forward and back. If your shoulders are kind of tend to stay up here, drop your shoulders and relax them. And other side, go back again, same thing. Notice unconscious tension and go ahead and relax. Good, now you're just gonna go this way. Very good. Good, and shake out the shoulders. Good, good, good. Shoulders up to the ear and release. Up to the ear and release again. Up to the ear and release. Nice. Now our neck. Poke your neck out like a turtle and back. Neck out like a turtle and back. Neck out and back. Side to side. Try to keep your shoulders steady. Good. And now circle your neck. When you get nice, healthy movement. And that occiput of the way. Very good. Good. Return normal. Now ear to shoulder, but you're gonna lift up the crown, ear to shoulder. And other side. Good, again, back to the other side. Bring your arm for the head. 2 fingers pointing the diagonal. Get a nice stretch right on top of that shoulder, right near the trap. And you're just gonna now rotate. Rotate. Good, and other side. Same thing. 2 fingers, point. Get a nice stretch. You might have to bring your arm further to the side depending on where you are, but notice where you are and work with that. Now we're gonna rotate. Good. And come up. Nice. Now we're gonna just circle our head within the cradle of our neck. So you're gonna pretend like you have a tassel on top of your head, and you're just gonna stay right in the cradle of the neck. Like you're trying to move the tassel. So it's not a big head circle, but we're just enough to help relax all those small muscles and tendons at the base of the skull. Other side. Good, and neutral, nice. Let's do our twist. So we're gonna, again, go back to neutral position and sink. And you're gonna go ahead and start with the eyes by looking to one side and let the eyes turn the head and let the head turn the shoulders the waist the hips. And go back center. Other side. Look with the eyes first without turning the head. Now let the eyes turn the head, shoulders, waist, and hips. And back center one another time. Look to the side. Let the eyes pull the head, shoulders, waist, hips. Good. One last time. Look. Nice. And now notice. Just notice how you feel right now from how you felt when you first started. All right, let's do one more and then we'll get into our movement. So what I want us to do is I want us to explore the sinking, because in hula, sinking the weight is really important. So I just want you to do this. I want you to stand with your legs straight. And I want you to feel what that feels like. A lot of times we do these movements and we don't take inventory as to what they really feel like on our body. So I'll tell you what I notice right now. Definitely my quads are engaged because my knees are pushed back a little further. They're not hyperextended, but they are straight. So I'm engaging with my quads, engaging with my glutes, and also engaging my core. But I'm also noticing that I'm definitely feeling away from the ground. So now I'm going to try to go ahead and shift my weight to my toes and back to the heels. Yep. Just try that for a minute and see what you notice. Just see what you notice. And again, my legs are straight. They're not locked out, but they are straight. And now I'm going to go side to side. Okay, and back center. All right, so feels definitely like it should with the legs straight. Now I'm going to sink my weight. Going to sink my weight. Now immediately, I definitely feel the relaxing of my thighs, my side of my hips, and my bottom. I'm going to shift my weight to my toes, shift back, shift forward, and shift back, and side, and side, and side, and side. Now center. Now, what did you all notice? I do want to do a little quick check-in with that. What did you notice about the difference between those two?
I would say, I would say just I felt a little more topply when my legs are straight, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Yes. Anybody else?
Yes, I felt that with the weight down, there was more range of motion in both directions, and it was more and a better connection with the floor.
Exactly. Anyone else? Okay. Well, anybody else? Okay, cool. It's okay. But I wanted for you to notice, because as we now are getting into hula, it's important that we maintain the softening and the sinking of the knees so that we're able to transition between the different movements. And I know that sometimes when you're coming from other dance backgrounds, we tend to definitely stay in the straight leg position. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just different. This is a different sensation so that you understand that with the bent knee, you have more range of motion, like Amy said, and the ability to transition between different movements. So one other example is if my legs are straight, and say I need to run, I've got to bend before I run. But if I'm already in neutral, I can take off right where I'm at. I don't have to think about it. But if I'm standing like this and I got to move, I've got to bend and then go. But if I'm already in a neutral here, I can just move. You see the difference? So I'm in a ready position to move, to transition between different movements. You see what I'm saying? So it's just something to think about. So with all of that, we're ready to start our basic hula. So just a little quick background. I've been teaching, well, I've been a student of hula for over 14 years. And so I began teaching a basic hula class last year in September called Ka Hula. And basically the goal of the class is to teach basic hula movements, which is foundation when learning hula, okay? Hula is whole body movement, okay? So we move our kikala or our hips, we move our chest, we move our whole body, okay? So this is what hopefully you'll get a chance to experience some of that today. So back to our neutral position. So as we learned in our warm-up, feet are in neutral position, sink your weight. So the first movement we're going to do is called Ka Hula. So can you say this, Ka Hula? You can unmute your mic so I can hear you. Ka Hula.
Ka Hula.
Ka Hula.
Ka Hula, Ka Hula. And you know, if it's okay, if I can have everybody please turn on their video so I can interact with you, and I can also kind of see how you're holding the movement, if that's okay. That would be great. That way we all can see you. But anyways, it's Ka Hula, and Ka Hula means to travel, okay? So we're gonna start in our neutral position. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work the hips. So when we sink, we're gonna lift up. I'm gonna start with my left hip, okay? And when we lift up this hip, the heel's gonna lift up with it, okay? So that's the first part of Ka Hula. Lift up the heel and the hip simultaneous. And again, you're in a neutral position and lower. Try the other side. Lift up the heel, stay in neutral position and lower. Other side. Lift up and lower. Lift up and lower. Just feel that. Lift up and lower. Beautiful. Lift up and lower. Nice. So that's just the basic mechanics. Now let's round it out. So when we shift to lift up, we're gonna also step out to, I'm stepping out to the right with the right foot. So I'm gonna shift, lift up and step out. See, my heel is up, hips up, but I'm stepping to my right and I'm gonna place my foot down as I allow my hips to go to the other side. Feet are together, my hip is in position to go the opposite direction. So I'm gonna step, lift up the hip and the heel. As I close, I'm gonna now shift my weight fully to my left and the hip is out and ready to go back. So step out, lift, sink. And then step out the opposite direction, lift up the hip and the heel and sink. Again, lift up the heel and the hip, step out, change. Yes?
I have a question. So what do your feet do? When do your feet roll down through to go flat on the change, and when does the heel
Okay,
pop?
no problem. Can you guys see my feet?
How does that?
Great, okay, so here's me.
Yes.
So now, as I step, I'm gonna step and lift up. So you don't wanna roll out to the side, just lift up the heel and the hip, bring it down. Feet together, hips prepped on the other side. Step, lift, and as you close, the hip falls to the opposite side. Step, lift, all right, try it again. Step, and again, keep your shoulders level, stay in neutral position, again. Okay, step. Good, nice, and rest. Does that help with the feet? Do you guys see that? Yes, okay, all right. So now, Amy, you had a question?
Well, there's something that I'm still awkward with.
Okay.
It feels like the foot that's coming up seems like it's the one stepping, and so somehow.
No. So the foot that's coming up, it's I'm going to my right. So When I step, I'm stepping over my right, but my left heel and hip is coming up. And then I close.
Yeah.
Right? So now I'm going to step with my left foot going out to the side. My hip's already in place. So now the hip and the heel join and bring that hip in with the foot. So the stepping foot and the foot with the heel and the hip, not the same.
Right, right.
Right foot steps out, the left hip and heel is up to lower to have my hip sink to the right. Now I'm going to go back to my left, step out with my left foot, lift the heel and the hip together, close with the right foot to the left and sink. Okay?
Thank
Does
you.
that help? Kind of, sort of, keep trying it. Try with me a couple more times. So again, I'm stepping. So think about this. As you step, the heel lifts and the hip. Step, the heel and the hip lift. So at the opposite heel and the hip lift of the foot that's stepping. Step and bring it in. And we're just doing one step. Yep. And sink. Keep going. Don't get frustrated. Beautiful. I'm already seeing progress. Nice. Good. And rest. Good. Shake it out. Circle your hips a little bit. That was a lot right there. So now we're going to do Ka Hula. Ka Hula is done in 4 counts. 4 count step, right and left, other side. Go ahead and circle our hips a little bit. Good. Okay, so now we're going to do Ka Hula in 4 counts. Start in neutral position. And again, I'm going to with my right foot, 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. One more time. Feel it. 1. Sink your weight. 2, 3. Beautiful. 4. One last time. 1. Beautiful. 2. Nice. 3. And rest. Good. So much better. And I'm seeing that it's starting to integrate a little bit in everybody. Just a couple of helpful things. As you're stepping, you don't need to collapse. You don't need to do this. Okay. So this is where we really are working to just isolate our hips. We want to keep these shoulders neutral. Doesn't mean they don't move slightly because the hips and the shoulders are connected. But we don't want to initiate hip movement from the shoulders like this, because I see this a lot. You don't want to do that. You don't want to twist. You don't want to do any of that. You want to sink, be in neutral position. And again, keep the tailbone long like we did in our warm-up. And let the core engage a little bit. Shoulders over the hips. We're going to bring our hands to our hips. And let's try this again. Do you have a question? Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay.
The forward motion of the hips, or is it all side to side? I'm trying to connect the dots with like salsa and cha-cha where it's figure 8. So is it just
Yes.
side to side?
Oh yeah. Right now we're just doing basic, but yes, there is a Ka Hula. There's Ka Hula going forward and back, and so hula goes in different directions. But as a base, as a start, we start with just these basic stuff. And so this is just basic Ka Hula going side to side, but it does move from forward to back. Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. So we're gonna sink, hands on the hips, and we're gonna go to the side. Ka Hula, step out, lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, stay in neutral. 2, 3. Keep the tailbone long, shoulders over the hips. 2, 3, 4. Now to add another challenge, put your hands on top of your shoulders. So now you get to gauge to see where your shoulders are with the movement. Ka Hula, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Beautiful. 3. Keep going. 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, and rest 4. Good, shake out, nice, very good. Now, let's sync it up and make those transitions a little more seamless. So again, just gonna now go forward, right, and left. Sync your weight. Bring our hands on top of our shoulders, and we're gonna Ka Hula. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Beautiful. Nice. Sync your weight. Don't forget. And 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and rest. Nice. Beautiful. Any questions about that? Because I want us to do that to some music. All right, let's try with some music. Very good. Very good. Okay. Okay, here we go. Ka Hula, feet to neutral position and sync. Hands over the shoulders for now. Ka Hula. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Now, bring our hands to our hips right here. Beautiful. Yes. Woo-hoo. Yeah, nice. That's fabulous. Oh my gosh, you guys rocked that. That was wonderful. All right, so number 2, we're gonna go to Ka O. Now, what was the first one we did? Ka Hula. The second one is Ka O. Ka O means to join. Ka O, okay? So like Ka Hula, Ka O is just in place. That's the only difference. We're doing basically a Ka Hula in place, so we don't step. So same idea, sync. We're gonna lift up the heel and the hip, put the foot down, and go to the other side. So we're not moving, we're just going side to side, okay? And again, when that heel lifts, hip lifts. Don't crunch don't do this. Don't let that happen. Just sync. And again, you're keeping your shoulders in line with the hips, keeping your tailbone long, engaging the core a little bit, and you're sinking. You have more range of motion. Sink, sink, sink. Good. So you're not traveling. We're just in place. Now you notice that because we're in place, the heels go like this. The heel is going up and it's rolling, but you're not rolling out on the side of your ankle. You're rolling up on the arches, the balls of the foot. Okay. Good. Beautiful. Nice. Don't forget to sink, because when you sink, you have more range of motion. And rest. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that. All right. So Ka O. So let's do this again. We're going to sink. This time, bring our hands on top of our shoulders. Okay. So again, watch the difference. Just watch for a second. This is Ka O. Okay. Now look at the hips. The hips are going out like that, right? Not this. That's a different direction. Yeah? You notice the difference between this and this? Yeah? Big difference. Yeah? So for now, let's all try to do it this way so that you can feel it. This is not a bad looking move. It's just different, yeah? Okay, so now try it the way that we learned. Lift up. Lift up. Beautiful already, yes. And remember, neutral position, sink your weight. Beautiful. Keep your torso neutral. Now bring our hands right here at the hips. Still maintaining our alignment. Good, beautiful, beautiful, and rest. Good, yeah, you definitely get a little workout in those hips, in the belly, back here. I feel it, okay. All right, so that's Ka O. So we've got Ka Hula and Ka O. Now what I want us to do with that, I want us to experience the level change because Ka O can change levels. So back to our neutral position, hands on the hips, just do a regular flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're gonna go low, ilalo. 1, 2, come up. 3, 4. Now go lower, slower. 1, 2, come up. 3 and 4. Now when you're up, you definitely are straighter legs when you're up. When you get ready to go lower, you're really gonna drop a little bit lower than neutral. Yeah, but not, it shouldn't be painful. Up, this is straight, drop lower. 1, ilalo, and iluna, up. And again, careful not to let the torso get too crazy. Yep, it does move slightly, but it doesn't initiate the movements. Drop. And lift up. Good. And rest. Very nice. So we have Ka O, we have Ka O, ilalo, low, Ka O, iluna, high. And again, the high is not so much you're up on the toes, but you just straighten the legs and rise. Ilalo, you lower. It's not a sudden drop, but it's a up, up, and then you drop. 1, and by 2, you're down. Come up, 1, by 2, you're up. 1, and by 2, you're down. Okay, and again, you want to keep this in line with the hips. You don't want to go forward or go too far back. All right, so let's add that to Ka Hula. Okay, so neutral position, hands on the hips here. Ka Hula, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Finish 4. Ka O. 1, 2, 4 of these. 3, 4. Now we're going to stay up, up, and slowly descend. Up, stay up. You're up by 2, 1, and down by 2. And then we're going to start over with Ka Hula. Any questions on those 2 steps? All right, let's get in here. Love it. All right. Ka Hula, start neutral, sink. Hands on the hips, Ka Hula. 1, 2. Again, Ka Hula. And Ka O. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ka O. 1, 2, down. 1, 2, up. Ka Hula. Again, Ka Hula. And Ka O. 4 in place. 3, 4. And Ka O. And descend. And up. And descend. Good. Nice. Very good. Very good. Okay. So, questions or comments about that before we keep going?
We're just wondering, like, I know for myself with ballet training, my IT band keeps like doing a little snap thing every time I go in the hip. It's like boom, you know, there's like a little. So we were wondering how, you know, keeping it's very smooth watching you do it. Is there, you know, tips for those of us that aren't used to this?
Okay. Well, first of all, that's okay. Thank you for asking that. The reason why we did the warm-ups the way that we do is to help encourage more ease and relaxation in this area of our body. All of these movements are natural ranges of motion. Okay, so doing things like these hip circles, matter of fact, let's all do this right now. Really great for encouraging synovial fluid in our whole iliac crest. And so we have to, I like to do this to help prime us for this type of movement. Yep, and other side. Yeah. So we just want to be able to have more range. So these things really help. That's another thing. The other thing is what I didn't do, and what we'll do now, because the step calls for this, is we're going to do our hip circles. So let's just do that now. We're going to sink, and you're going to contract your pelvis forward and back. Yeah, I'll face the side. So I'm in my neutral position, go forward and back. Yeah, you can just relax your hands to the side. So you're letting your pelvis go past center to the front and to the back, but you're still in neutral position and your shoulders are still in line with your hips, right? And center, neutral, okay? So now we're gonna go side to side, 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 side. And again, the more you stay in neutral and sync, the more range of motion you have. If you're up here, you can't really move your hips, right? But if you sync, you have more range of motion. Okay, so now we're gonna go front, side, back, side. Front, go the opposite direction, side, back, side, front, side, back, side. Now we're gonna circle the hips right in the cradle of our hips, our pelvis rather, in the cradle of our hips. Just a circle, a smaller circle. And now other side. So these exercises are really good for helping your muscles to relax. Good. And rest. Yeah. So that will help that for you as well. But now, guess what? We did our third hula step is ami. Ami means revolution. Okay. So neutral position, hands on the hips. And we just did our hip circle, ami. 1, circle, 2, 3, and 4, and center. Okay, other direction, ami. 1, circle, 2, 3, and again, you're in neutral. 4, come back to where you started in neutral. Again, start in neutral, end in neutral. 1, 2, beautiful, everyone. 3, and 4, center. Other side. 1, beautiful. 2, 3, and 4. Nice. Shake it out. That's our ami. So ami, Ka Hula, all these hip movements are really good for helping to facilitate more mobility and ease in the hips. Any questions there? Yes.
Are your knees moving, or are you keeping your knees together on that?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. So watch my knees, because the hips and the thighs are connected. There is slight movement on the ami. See, they kind of move on their own. Now, if this were Tahitian, it would move a lot because they're wanting them hips to move faster, but we're not doing Tahitian. We're taking our weight, but the knees do slightly move. And again, look at my feet. They're not like this. They're again back at our neutral position, sink, and then circle. So the knees do move slightly because they're connected to the thigh. Other side. Yeah, but it's not, again, the knees don't initiate the movement. It's not an extra step. They move on their own. Does that help? And center. Yeah? Okay. So, yeah, so they do move naturally, but it's not forced, or it doesn't initiate the movement. Okay? So that's ami. Okay, so we've got Ka Hula, we've got Ka'o, and now we have our ami. So let's put it together. Yeah? Sink our weight. Ka Hula, hands to the side. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now Ka'o. 1, 2, 3. And we're not going to do ilalo iluna. We're going to go right to our ami. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and right? Yes, very good. So we've got pretty much 4 each, yeah? So Ka Hula, try it again. Again, hands on the hips. Ka Hula. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ka'o. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ami. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and because you want to get back to where you started. All right, so before we go further, let's now add arm positioning to those movements. So you're definitely going to feel it in your arms now. Going to go ahead and sink the weight. And when we call holo, I'm going to bring my left hand at chest, palms down. Yeah, no droopy elbows though. Just your elbows all in line. My right's going to be out to my right, fingers together. Not a lot of tension. Yeah, you're not doing that. Left hand at chest, palm down, right out right. Now here's what I mean by out right. I'm going to turn to the side. See how my hand is a little bit forward? It's not here. This is a true side, but we're not doing that. We're going to bring it slightly this way. Not at the 45, but here. Okay, so this is when I say side, it looks like this as opposed to this. It'll be here. Okay, and then we're in our neutral position. We're ready to go. So our arms tell us which way we start. So my left hand's at my chest, my right's out to the right. So I'm going to go to my right. Ka Hula. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to change just like this. Watch here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, change here. Now again, don't let your arms be hyperextended. No, slight bend in the elbow, fingers together but relaxed. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on the 4 is where you change. And again, know this here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, change. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Don't dip the arms. Keep it level. 1, 2. Relax your shoulders. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Keep going. Yes. Lovely. Now, here's our Ka'o. We're going to bring both hands at chest, palm facing down. Okay, let's do that again. Shake out your arms though. Get rid of the lactic acid. Woo. All right, so let's do it again. Sink our weight. Ka Hula, arms in place. Ka Hula to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. And change. Change. Ka'o, hands at chest, palms down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now bring your hands to the hips. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and center. Now, if there were guys here in the room, when we do our ami, this is gender specific, fist here, just so you know. So if there were men, they wouldn't necessarily do this, because really what you're doing, I'll show you, why the ladies would hold their hands like that. I'll show you right now. Because you're wearing your pa'u, your skirt. Okay, this is called the pa'u. So guess what you do when you have on the skirt? Oh, you hop by, you bring it up here. So guys wear pa'u too, but they don't hop by, just the ladies, yeah? They do this. All right, so just so you know, have the skirt, hop by, and then you do that, okay? All right, I'm gonna leave it on so you can see. All right, so let's start. Neutral position, sink. Left hand at chest, right out right, palms down, fingers together, but relax. Ka Hula. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. Repeat. And change. Ka O, both hands at chest. Remember, keep neutral position. And now Ami, 1, 2, it's a little bit of hop eye, 3, and 4, other side, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we get ready to go, okay? All right, I'll take this off now. Just wanted to show you that. And actually, you wouldn't hop by that high, but it's just kind of give you an idea that you would just grab the front of the pa'u and just lift a little bit, okay? Let's try it with music. Okay. Neutral position, sink, arms in position, Ka Hula. And Ka'o. Ami, circle. Other side. And Ka Hula. Again, Ka Hula. Ka'o. Ami. And rest. Very good. Very good. All right. So one more detail about our arms is also the eyes and the head. Yeah. So when we Ka Hula to the right, then we're going to look in the direction that we travel. But you don't want to snap the head. It's nothing abrupt. It's you're going to go, arms in position. And when you travel, you're going to let the eyes lead as the head looks to the right. Eyes and head and hands simultaneous. Like the eyes are pulling your arms to the side. It's a gentle turn. Not a head snap. Don't want to give yourself a whiplash. Yeah. And again, there's no muscle tension in your arms. Yeah, but your arms are clear shaped. Fingers are together. Not droopy, but there's no excess tension. You want to be relaxed. Just that much. Beautiful. Keep going. Let me see. Notice tension in the arms and the muscles, and relax the muscles on top of the bones. Relax your shoulders. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, stop, stop, stop. That's great. So a couple of notes. Not up here. Nope, nope. So ladies, your hands are right in front of our chest. Okay, not here, not there, right here. Okay, all right. So watch the elbow. See that? Here. There you go. And again, here's the side. Not here, but about here. And again, notice unconscious tension that we were talking about in our warm-up. No tension. Relax the muscles on top of the bones. Fingers are together, but they are relaxed. Okay? And again, hands in front of the chest. And then you got your side. And then you got your change. Okay? All right. So we've done 3. Ka Hula, Ka'o, and Ami. So now we're going to do a step called Hela. H-E-L-A. Hela. Hela means to extend. Kind of like a tendu. Kind of, sort of. Yeah? So let's do the feet now with that. All right. So neutral position, sink. I'm going to shift my weight over to my left. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to extend. There's daylight under my heel. Okay? Now, there's going to be, now my feet are slightly turned into a slight V shape back. And I'm going to shift my weight and extend. Back to a little small V shift here. And here. And change.
Is your knee straight and your ankle also fully pointed, or is the whole foot kind of relaxed and the knee is relaxed?
It's relaxed, and so I'm glad you asked that. So when I do my hela, my feet are in like a small V. They're not here. No, just here, small V. The knees are over the feet. And when I shift and I extend, I'm just gonna lift up the heel. That's it. I'm not gonna point the toe. No extra tension there. Just lift up the heel. Yep, and then I'm gonna bring it back and shift the weight. And as I shift, I'm gonna release to the front. And I might even want to sink a little lower to get more range of motion. And again, the posture and alignment's the same, it doesn't change. Come back. Okay, just explore that. And you notice already the hips are involved because it's attached to your leg. Yeah. Right, just notice. Good. In front. And again, try not to cross your foot like that. You're not doing that. It's right here on the form line. That goes from the back of the foot to the top of the toe. Here. And I'm shifting. Okay? And I'm shifting. And back center. Good. Rest. Okay? That's just the mechanics. Now we're going to add our hips to that. Again, kind of like how we did with all the other two movements with the hips. Your hips are going to push out as you extend the foot, extend the leg. So I'm going to start in neutral. I'm going to sink. I'm going to open up my feet slightly to a V. As I extend, I'm going to start by shifting my weight onto my left foot. As I shift, I'm going to sink and let the hip fall, drop. So now I'm feeling my hip is going to be pushed out over that standing leg. I'm going to return and bring my hips to the opposite side and release the other leg. And my hip is out. Bring it center, let the hips go through center to the other side and release the foot. And again, you're in a sunk neutral position. Sink. Beautiful, keep going. Breathe, again, shoulders on top of the hips, tailbone long, core is activated. Beautiful. You can use your arms to assist you to keeping your shoulders level. Nice, keep going. As I extend my leg, again, the hip, it shifts and falls out. And in between, it swings through the center to go to the other side. Beautiful, beautiful, you guys, you look wonderful. Keep going. Yep, and don't be afraid to relax and sink those hips. Nice, good, come up, shake out, do a little hip circle there. Okay, that was much. Do the other side. We'll do some really nice cool downs when we're done, don't worry. Okay, so that's hela with our hips. All right, so now let's add our arms. Okay, so starting our neutral, sink, let the feet open slightly. Now, when we do the first one, left hand at chest again. This time, the right's gonna be out right. And then we're gonna change, but again, change. Okay, this is the arms. And really be conscious, don't do this, don't do that, right in the front. Okay, and again, I'm relaxing my fingers are together, but they're not super taut. There's not no extra tension. Relax the shoulders, keep the shoulders down and lift up the elbow. You don't want it to droop. Okay? All right, shake your arms out. Well, that's the arm positioning. So we're gonna sink. We're getting ready to do hela on with my right foot. And 1, in, yeah, did I do that? Yes, in, and 2. In, and 3. And again, you wanna keep the level the same. Keep going. Beautiful. And you want to stay in a slightly bent knee position. Keep going. Beautiful. Keep going. And rest. Okay, so Barbara taking a photo. Photo girl. Oh my God, I'm on camera. Boom. Photo. So that means that the standing leg is bent. You might notice you might sink a little more. And that's why we do this work with the sinking, because you notice that as you sink further, you have even more range of motion and you can relax. Let's try that again. Neutral position. Get ready to Hela. Sinking, going to for the right foot extended. 1, change. 2, change. 3, 4. Again. And 1, 2, and 3. Relax and 4. Beautiful. Rest and come up, shake out. All right. You guys are cooking. We've done 4. Any questions about anything before we add the music? All right, so let's start back, adding our arms. Yep, so someone wants to say something? No? Okay, all right. So again, sink, start with our Ka Hula, garments in position, and Ka Hula. 1, 2, 3, 4, change. Again, Ka Hula, and change. Ka-o, both hands at chest, palms down. 1, 2, beautiful. 3, 4, hands to hips, Ami. 1, 2, 3, 4, other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Come together and rest. So the shoulders are square to the front. Don't want them to twist out and pull back like that. Let's try with the music. Okay. Keep kind of go over that while I get this music queued up. Do it the best of your memory while I get this. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. Sink, a little bit slower. 5, 6, 7, Ka Hula, and 1, 2, 4. Other, again. Ka, 2, 3, 4. Ami, 1. Other side. And Hela. Ka Hula. Again. Ka. Ami. Other side. And Hela. On your own. Let me see. Ka Hula. Keep your shoulders steady. Beautiful. Relax your shoulders. Beautiful. 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 And rest. That was lovely. Wow, that was really lovely. Shake out your arms. Okay. All right. So now, Gosh, we've done Ka Hula, Ka O Ami Hela. We're gonna do 5. We might get to do 6. I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna do Uehe. 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 Or some people say Veke. Okay. So let me just explain what this term means. It's really kind of important. So vehe, there's 2 words, uehe, meaning to open or to crack open. But the word vehe also means just to open, like vehe puka, open the door. So that's kind of telling you what's the action with our legs. So the way that I was trained to teach it was that when we do our wehe, it's a knee thrust, and the knees thrust over the toes. Okay, it's a slight opening, but that's more modest. And one of the matriarchs of this particular lineage, she felt that was just more appropriate, especially for ladies, to really just keep the knees over the toes and not so much splayed out. But how I learned it originally was the knees open. Okay, and so when we do it, you're in a neutral position, and when you thrust, you're going to let the heels come up. Let the heels just come up like that. Okay, you can try that. But again, be in a neutral position and let the heels just come up. Heels come up. Okay, so it's not a forced arch so much. You're just letting the heels come up. Okay, now when you do that, I'll face the front. There's a slight opening already when the knees do that. Knees are over the toe, and your feet are in a slight V. Okay, now another way that I learned it was open this way. Okay, but I'm not saying that way is wrong, just saying I like this way because it feels more anatomically correct. This way, you definitely feel a little bit of tension up in here. And over time, that can be a problem, like now, a little pop, okay? All right, so we're gonna do it with the knee thrust. So neutral position, sink. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna lift up, I'm starting with my right foot, lift up, put it down, knee thrust, shift. 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 Lift up, put it down, knee thrust. Keep going. Up, shift, shift, shift. Okay, now I know it's real staccato right now, but I'm just showing you the transitions. Okay, neutral position, your feet are in a slight V. Okay, you're gonna pick up, thrust, pick up, and the shift and the pick up of the foot is simultaneous. As you shift, you pick up the foot. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Nice. Shake out. You definitely feel it in your ankles. Yeah. It's knee thrust, knees over the toes, slight V. Okay. Now our hips. Again, similarly to what we did with our Hela. Okay. Again, you notice how the hips sway side to side. Similar. So again, sink, immediately the hip goes out when you start. Hip out. So my hip is out to my right, and to my left. So I can step with my right. Step and shift. So as I shift, the hip falls out and I pick up the foot, put it back down. Uehe. Uehe. And again, I'm in a neutral. I'm a little bit lower because I want to get more range of motion. The pelvis is neutral. The pelvis doesn't tilt forward and back. Your hips are just going side to side. As you pick up the foot, Keep going. Beautiful. Keep going. Keep going. Pick up the heels, knee thrust. Keep going. Let me see. Beautiful. Sink your weight. Beautiful. And rest. Yes, yes, you definitely feel the burn. Quads are engaged, hips, IT band back here, legs, all that is working, okay? Now, let's try it a little more up the tempo. Question? No, okay, cool. All right, sink, turn out the feet slightly, hands on our hips, okay? And again, sink the weight to your left foot. Away, step away, away, step away. Shoulders over the hips. Yep, core is engaged. Good. Ba, ba, da, ba, 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 ba. Keep going. Ba, 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 ba. Sink. Yep, side to side. Good. Beautiful. Keep going. And rest. So I want you to hear the rhythm to that. Okay, like this. So on the is the thrust. Is the step. The thrust. Okay, so I'm gonna step. Show you my feet, that way you can see. Okay, so with this, you can hear it. And keep going. Breathe. Good rest, yeah. It's better to do, I find that doing that step, it just makes more sense to do it with the ipu heke ole or the ipu heke so you can feel the timing, yes. Question? No? Okay, cool. All right, so uehe. Now for this one, we had our hela here, here, and here, okay? So we're just gonna, again, have our hands back to our hips. Okay, when we go back to our uehe. So we just did our helas. Now I'm going to do our uehe. Sink, hip out, one, step uehe, step uehe. Okay. Good. Keep going. Keep going. Good, and rest. Very nice. Uehe, okay? We've got 6, just the 6. There's lots of basic hula steps, but we've got quite a bit of ground with just the 6. So let's start from the beginning. Ka Hula, sink, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, Ka Hula. And Ka'o. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hela. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uehe step. 2, 3, 4. Ka Hula. Okay? Let's try with the music. Very good. All right, do it again. Okay. Here we go. 5, 6, sink. Ka Hula. Ka Hula. Kao. Ami. Other direction. And Hela. Uehe. Ka Hula. Again. Kao. Ami. Other side. And Hela. Uehe. Good. And rest. Shake it out. I want to see you do it on your own. 6, 7, 8. Ka Hula. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Beautiful. Keep going. Beautiful. Nice. Wonderful. Wonderful. That was wonderful. So for fun, let's bump it up a little bit, huh? Let's bump it up. Here we go, Ka Hula. Ka Hula. Again. Kao. Ami. Other side. Hela. Uehe. Ka Hula. Kao. Ami. Hela. Uehe. On your own. Hey, go. Last time, Ka Hula right. Keep going. Yeah, we just want to have a little fun over here. Okay, so just wanted to us to experience it at a a slightly faster pace. So before we get into our cool down, any comments on what we just did? You should be warm. I'm warm. All right, so let's do a nice, beautiful cool down to bring things back to the beginning. right. So now I'm going to step out a little bit larger and slowly, a lot of hips. And other side, other direction. Good. Good. Look to the side, look up, and over. Other side. Press, look up. Nice. Hands behind the back, bend the knees, press the pelvis forward. And hands at the insertion of the hips, press the hips back, come forward. Hands on the back, bend, hips forward. Change. Good, again. Good, and center. Come a little bit closer together. Gonna wave our back, just come forward, bend the knees. As you bend forward and bend, drop the tailbone, let it hang as you come back. Good, and now we're gonna go side to side in neutral position. And circle just a torso. Other side. Good. Nice. All right, so now we're gonna go a little bit deeper in our hips. If you're able to do this, fine. If not, we have a modification. But in case you're not, you want your feet to be at a 45-degree angle. Gonna make a little star. Gonna come up. Now, if you can only go this far, I want you to bring your hands down and press. Just keep your back long and press to really open up the pelvis a little bit more, and just hold that. Okay, and then when you finish, just come out the way you started, bring the feet together, and then close. If you're able to go further, you're gonna start with the feet out in a 45-degree angle, make a star, come up, and go ahead and sink all the way down into a squat. Go ahead and bring your hands together in prayer. You're gonna press your knees into your elbows and just sink. Bring your hands forward onto the floor. Gonna go ahead and let the knees rest on top of the elbows as you shift forward. And go ahead and shift, straighten, and let the hips lead up toward the ceiling as you press down. And now you're just gonna let your hips shift side to side. And go ahead and come center, bend the knees. Good, feet together, we'll do that again. Step out. Yep, so if you're able, star up, press. Squat if you can. Go ahead and squeeze the elbows with the knees, and you can just kind of shift side to side. Beautiful. Everybody can do this. Yay. Very good. Hands to the floor now. Hands to the floor. And as you shift, let the thighs rest on top of your elbows and just shift side to side very gently. And good. Go ahead and now extend the hips up to the ceiling. Let the feet be parallel. And you're just going to shift side to side. Good. Now come center here and continue to hang. And roll up. Feet together. Good. I'm turning to the side. Good. Bend the knees slightly. Go back. And stretch down. And go ahead and cha-cha-cha side to side as your arm down. And center, bend the knees, roll up. Same thing. Bend the knees slightly, chest forward, hips back, folding over. And just go ahead and shift back to the heels and front. And just hang here for a moment and let the backs of the legs relax. And as you can gently kind of straighten a little bit as you continue to lengthen to the floor. And breathe, just breathe. Good, and bend. Good, let's make our way to the floor. All right, just want to open it for any questions anybody might have. Any questions or comments or anything you want to say?
So I
That was
tried to
wonderful. Thank you, Shereel.
You're welcome.
Good.
I tried to take notes, but my spelling, I'm sure, is completely wrong. How do I spell these?
I'm sorry, say this again.
I said I tried to take notes, but I think I spelled everything completely wrong.
Oh, it's okay.
Is there a list somewhere where we can go? I want to write it down right so that I have it right later.
I'm sorry, say that again, dear.
Is there like a place where a dictionary where the terms are written down?
Yes, there sure is. You can I'm gonna put it in the chat. It's a thing called ulucow. I think it's .com or ulucow.org. And here are the terms. Ka Hula.
That'll be cool. I'll take a picture of that.
We did Ka Hula. We did Ami. And we did Hela. And we did Uwe He.
So just so you know, if you see in the chat over where you're able to type where it says everyone, then it says file, and then there's 3 red dots. At those 3 red dots, you have an ability to go save chat, and that will give you that information. It'll just make a little file.
Mm-hmm. I think it's ulucow.com, but you want to go, that's the electronic Hawaiian dictionary. And so those are the, we did Ka Hula, Ka'o, Ami, Hela. I feel like I'm missing a step. We did Ka Hula, Ka'o, Ami, Hela. Yeah, we did 5, not 6. Okay, so those are things you can go and look up. And that'll at least kind of get you started. You can kind of put that in your notes somewhere, and it'll give you the meanings, because again, Hawaiian is a contextual language. So in this context, because the movements are codified, they mean what they mean in this context. Yeah, so just something to keep in mind. Any other thoughts or things you want to say?
It's just so beautiful to move the body in a different sort of way and know that God's honored in the body. And sometimes we make parameters where we think that there's different styles that he can't either redeem or be a part of or exalted in. And so I just appreciate, because I know you and we've known each other for so long, just the spirit. And you teach, you're just a really beautiful, clear, articulate teacher, and you bring real peace in the learning process.
Thank you. I do want to hang out on that. And I was wondering for you all, because we're all Christians here. So how did the movements make you feel? I think we lost one person. I'm not sure what the situation was, but I'm just curious from you folks, how did that make you feel? Like, what was going through your head?
Okay, well, here we teach our girls, don't shake anything that's covered by your bathing suit. That's kind of like what we say here at Grace Christian. And so it was a little different for us, for sure. She was a student since she was 3 here. She teaches with us now. So it was just kind of a little awkward at first, because we just don't use that part of our body in our choreography. So
okay. That's honest and very transparent, and I really do appreciate you sharing that. Anybody else who had similar feelings?
I just thought what I liked about it with the hips is it feel, I mean, I guess men do it too, but it feels very feminine. So I think just make me feel like a woman, and I liked that.
Okay.
Liked how it felt very much like I was, I mean, maybe it's just the music, but it felt very much like we were at the beach with the waves and like following this fluid motion of wave up, down, back, forth, back, forth. I like that very natural feeling.
Yeah, and all of you really embodied it really well. And I don't know if you've had previous hula training before, but you embodied it really well. And I've taught this class and people embody it and hold it differently. But I think because all of you are dancers, that definitely is a huge help to be able to absorb movement. But the thing that I have come across in teaching hula, especially in Christian circles, is the fact that, hula moves the hips a lot. And I know that in Western culture, Western Christianity, there seems to be kind of a disconnect from that. And I mean, I have some ideas as to how it started, but I think that, like Cynthia said, I think sometimes we can put parameters and broad brush stroke other cultures that do that, because maybe like the sister here for Grace Christian, that's not what you do. And that's between you and God. You have to hear God for what God wants for you. But when we study other cultures, it takes a while to really try to understand it from their side and really what they're speaking and saying. And I know that when people like James Cook arrived in the Hawaiian Islands, and when he would document what he saw, he described it really in Western European terms from how he saw it. But to the native people, it just wasn't like that. They're just moving, they're keeping time. They're not even really thinking. Now, don't get me wrong. There are dances that celebrate procreation. That's how we got here. There are dances that speak of the genitalia. There are, because in those cultures, when they speak of a person or something, someone great, they describe their complete features, all of it. They describe everything. So like, for example, for King Kamehameha, there are lots of chants that talk about his because he was a warrior, he was tall and he was fierce, but then there are also chants that talk about his genitals, because the idea is they wanted the elite or the royalty to continue the line. Yeah, continue the royal line. And so talking about those things was a way to honor their greatness and hope that their bloodline will continue for generations to come. But it takes time to kind of decouple our perspective and then to say, oh, okay, this is what they're saying, and then, weighing it up against, okay, is that something that maybe I can appreciate? Or if, like you said, you have your own dance school, what is God speaking to you about that based on where you are, where you live, in the audience that you serve? But, in my years of studying traditional dance, it's just been a real privilege to witness their culture, to ask questions, and to observe. So those things over time, there's no particular recipe I have other than I just go with a willingness to want to understand who they are, and then to try to look everything up, to try to look at it in context. What are they saying in the context that they're showing it? And is that really what they mean? So I think that's why I'm able to hold it in this way and to offer it in this way, because yes, like Amy said, for women, there is a level of celebrating our femininity. And I think that's healthy personally, but there's also responsibility. There's also a level of grace. There's also a level of poise that these movements can be done in, where people won't see, oh my gosh, she's moving her hips. They'll see the heart of it. I dance many of our traditional hulas in churches. And there they speak of place, they speak of land, they speak of, marriage. And I've had people come to me like, wow, you were praising God, even though the song did not explicitly mention God. But the things of God, which are family, the things of God, which is environment, the things of God, which are people, place, and events, those are things that people resonated with. And they never got anything other than that. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that little bit about it in hopes that, if you all continue to study Edie and continue on in this series with Cynthia, that maybe that can go with you into the other classes too. Any final thoughts before we go?
Just makes me think of the verse that was in today's reading was the earth is the Lord and everything in it.
Everything in it. Everything, not some, but everything.
And that's what I was going to pull up as well. That's why picked up my phone, was because the same thing. We were doing a Bible reading through the year, again, going through the entire scriptures, and that was so clearly articulated that the earth is the Lord's and everything. There's nothing that isn't redeemable. There's nothing that he can't be glorified in and through when we understand his position and his place. And he made our hips, he made our breasts, he made our center core, he made our arms, he made every part of us, and how we are able to present ourselves holy and blameless before him. I just think that sometimes in the church we've been pretty narrow in how we condemn, where there's other contexts where it's amazing how God's being honored and glorified. And I remember the very first time I saw a woman when I was over in Europe, and she came from an Asian background, and she was so devout in her faith and still is. I just connected with her a couple days ago, and she comes more from an Asian culture where their midriff was shown, and so she wore her national regalia, which was midriff shown and a shawl over her. But still you could see, you could see. And for me and the people in that church, even though they hadn't experienced that before, it was so evident that she was honoring and worshiping God. But sometimes we just have to be aware of, the context and the culture. And God's going to bring freedom and, revelation to all of us in different places. And so there's no condemnation in Christ wherever we are in that. But there's also no judgment in that context as well.
That's very well stated. And again, even with hula, as we're seeing more hula in church, and I'm not amongst many popular people who do. And again, the term Christian hula, honestly, I'm just going to be real transparent. I have a problem with that term. I do. Because when people don't understand what hula really is. If you understood it, then you would. The thing that God has shown me rather is, where are you in these things? And God has shown me where he is. And so I don't need to have a special term, because I know when I'm looking for where God is in the first place. So when I hear that term, Christian hula, what are you really saying? What are you really trying to convey? And so I don't use that term. I say hula. I say that word because I can see where God is, and my goal is to show you that. And so that's not a special move or anything. Really, it's a perspective and how you enter into that, and then what you're looking for, and then what you're trying to bring out to others so that they can see, well, this is where God is here. So it's not to say I'm condemning those Christians who do hula in the church, because I've done it too. But there is it's kind of like praise dance and all that kind of stuff. There's now another section of that now. And so in that particular group, the things that I do, they would not do those things because they feel that God is not honored. But I don't know how they reached that conclusion. I really don't. And so I've never entered into a conversation with them on that level, but I just know what God has shown me over the years. And that's what I want to bring to everybody else, that, I truly do believe that God has really blessed the islands of Hawaii in a very unique way that's unique to them. It's just amazing, the things that I've been shown. And so I'm hoping that more people catch that. And so mahalo nui to you, Cynthia, for even doing this. This is so needed amongst us as a people. And I hope that, you all continue this in your own journey in dance. And maybe if God leads you to study a particular culture, that maybe you'll go in with some of those things in mind. Any final thoughts?
I had a quick question. We were a couple minutes.
Yes.
Did you define what hula means?
Can you define what hula means?
Okay. Sure. Well, the English translation of the word hula means dance. So when people say hula dance, you're basically saying dance. That's what it is. And so the literal definition is, oh, okay, bye, sweetheart. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So the literal definition of hula just simply means dance. Okay. But also the thing with hula, hula is also the way that we see dance here in the West. It's not just, I mean, yes, there's these codified movements that we have, but they also tell a story of people, of place, of situation. You know, we just covered the basics. If you were to continue on with me and go further, then we eventually arrive at gestures. Then we eventually arrive at really deciphering and story, like the music you heard, they all have their stories. So part of the study is to, okay, understand the meaning of that story, understand the language, understand what it's meant from the standpoint of the composer, and then, okay, how do these moves interpret that? Now, it's not a literal translation because Hawaiian is not a literal translatable language. It is contextual because Hawaiians were oratory people. However, it's the concept. You see what I'm saying? And so sometimes a song may be mentioning about a flower, but it's not really talking about a flower. It's talking about a person. But this pua will represent the person and the value that that individual has. But that's not translatable from Hawaiian to English. So hula talks on that realm as well. Yeah. So the dance is a broad picture of telling story and being able to convey a message. Then there's the actual chant piece, which is it's like Gregorian chants, if you're familiar with those. It's like that. It's very atonal or monotone. You know, it's just you're telling a story through cadence and melody and rhythm with your voice. Yeah. Any thoughts about that? Oh, okay, I thought okay. So that's the hula too. Yeah. So hula is dance, but it's also the container of dance that speaks of the place, dance that speaks of the people, dance that speaks of events, dance that speaks of the royalty, of any famous event that took place on any of the islands. That's what hula speaks of. And yeah, it speaks of the things of God, the created things of God. And yes, there are dances that speak of Ka Hula, of God, the one and only true God. Yeah.
I think it's
All
a
right.
little bit like the word like aloha, right?
Oh, I'm so glad you picked that. I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah. So aloha, you know, in the English, it all means hello and goodbye. Not exactly. Not exactly. There's two words in aloha. Alo is face. Ha is your breath. So why is that? When the Native Hawaiians would greet, and they do this now, when you greet, an official greeting is when your forehead and nose touch, and you inhale through your nose. Keep your mouth closed. Inhale through the nose. That's where the breath is. Now we know this in Genesis. What happened there with Adam? What did God do? He breathed into Adam's nostrils the breath of life. So the ha is the breath of life. So when there's that exchange, you're exchanging the breath of life. So that's ha. Alo is the face. So face, the breath. That's the life. Most people don't know that. You know, the word says that, you know, God's word is written upon the heart of all of us. So there that is right there. There's the breath of life right there in your face. So that is why natives, when they would greet each other like that. And also, here's another piece. It also said that they were human. That's another lecture, but ha also is for us humans. Again, the Bible talks about this. We have the breath of life. If we don't have the breath of life, then guess what? You're not human or you're not alive. Okay, so that's that piece of aloha. So that's the depth of that word aloha means a lot, and it's not to be taken lightly. So when you say aloha, you're acknowledging that person's humanity, their life, and their breath. You know, when you leave, do the same because you don't know if you're going to see him again. When you have a close friend, your pili aloha, meaning this is my close friend that shared my breath in my face. Or like the word mahalo, meaning thank you, but again, those are three separate words. Ma is a point of direction. Ha, breath. Alo, again, face. So you're talking about now you're thinking, you're sending the breath and toward the face of the person that you are dealing with. Mahalo, meaning I'm sending it back to you. I'm giving that love back. I'm giving that life and that breath back to you. Yeah. So it gets deep when you look at it and unpeel it. It's like, wow, I didn't know that. Any other thoughts? All right, ma'am. Well, Cynthia, I do thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope I get a chance to see you all again. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Shereel. We appreciate you. God bless you, my dear friend.
All right, you
Thank
as
you
well.
all for joining. I'm going to plan, I think we're doing African for February because it's Black History Month. So I
Yeah.
want
Who's
to,
doing that? I'm curious.
I've got a couple people that I'm talking to right now. So
Awesome. I'll try to
excited.
jump in on that.
Yeah, that'd be great. But
Okay.
God bless you all. And please share the that we're doing this because I think more people will gain insight and perspective. But Shereel, thank you again for your precious time. We sure appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you again, everybody. God bless.